Hey, I'm in Southern California. I've been riding some commuter trains around and this and that and the other thing. How's it going? Well, there's a stack train. You'll see that in a future video. Tonight, I need to get over to Phoenix because my flight home tomorrow is in Phoenix, not LA. It was cheaper that way. So we need to get to LA Union Station, and from there we're going to take the Sunset Limited Amtrak's Train 2 tonight. We're going to do it in coach. We're going to do it as a points redemption because we're being really cheap tonight. It's only a 7.5 hour-ish train. It should be fine. It's like a night train at this point, right? If I would have paid an extra $300 for the roomette, I wouldn't have gotten a meal. I would have hardly got time to shower, especially if I'm gonna get any meaningful amount of sleep. I figure I sleep more in coach. I guess we could put that to the test tonight. We're out of the roomette, we're back into coach, and we're headed from LA Union Station to Maricopa, Arizona, and then we're gonna catch a connecting van, from Maricopa to Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, where then we'll have fun for a day in Phoenix before flying home. Where's Metrolink? Aboard the San Bernardino line, Metrolink delivered me back to downtown LA, as will be featured in a future video. A $50 cheaper airfare to MSP via Phoenix combined with my availability of Amtrak guest rewards points to cover the overnight ride aboard the Sunset Limited. Though regular coach fare would have been less than $50 booked a couple months in advance, making this a good proposition either way. To enhance my evening with snacks and outlets to charge my camera batteries while at LA Union Station, I used additional guest rewards points to acquire access to Amtrak's Metropolitan Lounge, which is located beyond the ticketing counter, a turn away from the waiting hall and passenger concourse, then around a corner to the most inauspicious first-class lounge ever nestled into California's most boisterous city. This lounge has the typical Amtrak snacks, and it does tend to fill up given its size at just around maybe close to 100 people for capacity. It's no Moynihan train hall, but it's nice for a traveler like me, weary in the feet after a day of enjoying the LA area's public transit over the course of a summer Sunday. I got to the lounge a little over 2 hours before my 10 p.m. departure and was told by the very kind lounge staff member that I would receive my coach seating assignment downstairs in the passenger waiting area around 8 p.m. Some passengers who had come earlier in the morning were refused entry to the lounge under Amtrak's new policy of no more than 3 hours spent in the spaces offered in various stations around the country. Regular passenger waiting spaces are fine. Some, like LA Union Station, are very opulent. But once you get a taste for Amtrak's lounge offerings, you tend to come back for the respite offered by the typically quiet spaces when connecting to trains or anticipating rides to or from your destination. There's another travel vlogger on the train and in the lounge, but she's not here right now. She went to get dinner. Okay, here's what they do. You go down to the front of the passenger waiting area, not in the big hall, but nearer to the concourse, and you talk to the coach attendant in the little windowed box, and he or she sets you up with your seat assignment. I do believe I got a window seat, number 63. Got a couple hours. I am sore from that Metrolink seat, so I know I'm going to enjoy this lounge. Pass well spent. For me, more than 3 hours would have only been appropriate when the weather's bad. And even then, there's the subway to explore in most cities with metropolitan lounges or public transit in general. I don't need to be told twice to go. Given the new Valley Metro LRT line in Phoenix and the earlier scheduled arrival in the Twin Cities by the later Sun Country flight the next evening, this hop over to Arizona to end my trip out west seemed a nice way to get me further down the road on a long weekend transit-oriented trip. The Sunset Limited is America's oldest named train, operating along the Sunset Route, established by Southern Pacific in 1894 from New Orleans to Los Angeles via Houston, San Antonio, and El Paso. A transcontinental route that avoids the seasonal weather conditions and extreme elevation changes of routes running through the northern cities of Chicago or St. Louis. It's one of 2 Amtrak trains that only run 3 days per week in each direction, Running east from LA, it features through coach and sleeper cars bookable as Train 422, which are split from the Sunset Limited's Train 2 at San Antonio during an overnight stop. These cars are attached to the daily Train 22, the Texas Eagle to Chicago there in San Antonio. Some prefer to call this train's entire route the Texas Eagle and therefore the longest route in Amtrak's system, but I refer to the route from San Antonio west as the Sunset Limited, given the historic precedence and longevity of this particular train. If that's confusing to you with the Texas Eagle versus Sunset Limited part, just go by the car number on your reservation for sleeping car passengers and likely on your seat check for coach passengers.
It's our second time.
Gentlemen, this is Carmel, your cafe car attendant. Cafe car is located on the lower level, the observation sightseeing car. We are forward of the coaches in the rear sleeper and in back of the dining car if you're traveling in the front two sleeper. Once again, the cafe car is open and serving. I do have ice cold beer, wine, cocktails, burgers, hot dogs, mac and cheese, grilled cheese, jambolis, Greek salad, Asian noodle bowl, crudité, cup of noodles, bunch of sweets and snacks, soda, water, juice, tea, to everything. Folks, please come on down. If you decide to purchase any alcohol, please make sure you have your ID with, and also make sure you have your shoes on while walking throughout the train. You will not be served without your shoes on. You'll be sent back to your room or your seat to retrieve them. Do you take cash, card, Apple, Google, and Samsung Pay, folks? So come on down. I'll be open till 11 p.m. Close at 11 and then reopen tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thank you. Once again, my name is Carmela and I'll be with you all the way to New Orleans. Thank you and welcome aboard. Again, last call for Los Angeles. All aboard.
Though I was ticketed for the 215 coach, I was assigned a seat in the 2215 coach. This is fairly common practice on Amtrak, as conductors prefer to group passengers based on their destinations, often reserving an entire coach for the busier cities on the route when space allows. Not that the train number difference would matter for me, being as that both trains go through the same station stops up until San Antonio on the second night of the two-night, two-day trip, including mine in Maricopa, which is fairly early down the line.
Once again, folks, welcome aboard Amtrak Train 2, the Sunset Limited, en route to New Orleans, Louisiana, and Train 422, the Texas Eagle, en route to Chicago, Illinois. Now, folks, don't let that confuse you. We are two trains combined into one. This is why it is very important that you stay in the assigned car that you are given, especially if you're in the coaches. Otherwise, you might end up on the wrong side of the country. Once again, we're Train 2, the Sunset Limited to New Orleans, and Train 422, the Texas Eagle, en route to Chicago, Illinois. If you haven't done so already, please take a moment to review the safety instructions card.
We get boarded an impressive 45 minutes early, affording me the chance to position my leg and footrests to their initially comfortable level. I tend to find the greatest challenge to sleeping in coach on Amtrak is pressure points in my ankles and lower back, sometimes my legs. The lack of an armrest between you and your seatmate is another potential issue for some folks, and there's going to be folks snoring and variable light levels from the picture windows running down the side of the coach. As I learned on the Capital Limited last year, it's best to bank as much sleep as possible on these long-distance routes, and that, along with the fact that we depart at 10 p.m., somewhat after sunset, means this trip is going to be about imitating best rest practices in challenging conditions, hoping for the best, but knowing there's a desert sunrise ahead as a reward for my efforts. Historically, Southern Pacific's Sunset Limited served Alhambra and Indio, California stations prior to a stop in Yuma, Arizona. Beyond there, Maricopa was on the original route to Tucson, but the Sunset Limited later shifted to the West Line, which ran via Phoenix and Tempe. In the Amtrak years, the train was shifted back to running through Maricopa and bypassing Phoenix in 1996 when track conditions on the line deteriorated, and Amtrak refused to pay then-owner Union Pacific for repairs and upgrades to the line. This more southern route and stop in Maricopa necessitates an Amtrak Thruway connection in the form of a van operated by a company called Stagecoach Express that takes passengers bound for Phoenix to either the airport or downtown based on their booked tickets with Amtrak. The connection is guaranteed, meaning however late your train may be, the van waits to receive passengers from the train as it did for us, almost a half hour late coming through the desert into the city of Maricopa, a town that embodies sprawl while maintaining plenty of ex-urban small-town American feel. Next car up. The big bathroom. Still not great, but a lot more space. 5 minutes to Maricopa. Compared to my red-eye flight last year, the overnighting coach aboard the Sunset Limited worked about as well as I had hoped, with a little more sleep than the airline experience. I sacrificed money for sleep, though I'm sure I wouldn't have been any better off in a sleeper car, for about $300 more. Taking a sleeper during the daytime with meals and scenery is fine, but the lie flat beds being the only extra feature on this nighttime route of even the Spartan roomette accommodations don't enhance my hours of sleep when I'm taking my first ride on a new train route, and it's just hard to fall asleep. There's also a lot of mysticism regarding the idea of being pulled down the tracks through the desert, tracing the southern edge of the country by way of an Amtrak car built nearly 50 years ago. Just nothing that I couldn't also get in coach.
Did you have this one? Is this yours? Be counting your bags so you don't leave nothing behind.
Exit to your right. If you have any checked bags, you're going to be in the platform.
Good morning, everybody.
Maricopa is a town that sprawled out of the Phoenix metro area over the preceding 20 years. And for 85 degrees, it doesn't feel too bad when you're not in the sun. And that's the trick today. The Ford van has seats that are well but stiffly padded, and my seat would end up rocking back and forth a bit over the nearly 40-minute ride. This didn't seem to be an issue with any other seats, just my bad luck to have chosen the only single seat in this particular van, a likely popular choice for those first locating the van and its driver near the doorway to the Maricopa station. Our van ride out of the city center goes from average storefronts to rural desert road rather quickly. Distant hills and, dare I say, mountains are prevalent as traffic is on this very busy commuter artery this Monday morning. Thruway services in Amtrak's network have regional traffic volumes as their greatest foe. Though it seems most timetables for these final mile, or dozens of final miles in our case, destinations either overstate travel time or take traffic into account as a remedy. Their service is akin to a hotel shuttle. The driver played NPR's Morning Edition, offering no conversation, just a safe ride through a busy morning of traffic entering the Phoenix metro area. As for me, I decided to utilize Phoenix's public transit to head downtown for a coffee, and to see the former station that Amtrak used to call on almost 30 years ago. This van connection exists to and from the Sunset Limited and is complemented by a corresponding shuttle from Phoenix to Flagstaff, where Amtrak's Southwest chief calls upon overnight. That shuttle is, or recently was, operated by Groom Transportation, the company that saw me from MSP Airport to Eau Claire as I did a month ago. I've taken more shuttle buses this year than I have in most prior years, and I haven't even been to Atlantic City or many upscale hotels this year. I'd really prefer to just step off the Sunset Limited in Phoenix, but when Amtrak, freight railroads, politicians, and taxpayers all have to agree to change things to make a train to Phoenix happen again, I'd be surprised to see the route revert to even a major city stop within the coming years, maybe over a decade or more. From Sky Harbor Airport to the Phoenix SkyTrain and on to Valley Metro's A-Line LRT, I easily located the shuttered Union Station on Google Maps and proceeded to make a day of it, trying out transit in this vast desert city. I don't mind Phoenix at all so far. It's very low humidity. Now we're gonna go down and check out the other Amtrak stations. And then I'm gonna do the Capitol Museum. I'm just switching up the order of everything today because it doesn't really matter as long as we get to the airport on time. So up until the mid-90s, Amtrak used this station here just off to the edge of downtown Phoenix. They abandoned it in favor of Maricopa because the track conditions for the UP secondary line coming into downtown Phoenix were no longer adequate for passenger trains. So let's go take a look and see what we can see. So it's now a parking lot for the various industries around here. Not very well utilized, probably because it's fairly remote. But the station's all there. I think the Amtrak signage has been taken down. It's on private property. I could have walked in to the parking lot, but the fence on the other side is closed to the best that I can see, so I didn't want to have to walk all the way back. I do intend on going to the Capitol Museum after this, so. Like most everything down here left abandoned in the Southwest, it's in very good condition. But it's actually not abandoned. They do use it for event rentals. And they had covered parking because it's 100 degrees at 8 a.m. So it's all the sheriff's administration buildings. Bet there's a jail around here. One thing's for sure is that station's in jail. Phoenix was fairly easygoing transit-wise, despite the lack of an Amtrak station. We'll check out the new LRT there in Phoenix in a future video, and even sooner we'll go back to my first day of this trip and ride the new K-Line LRT from LAX Airport to downtown LA via a simple set of connections in LA's metro system. Thanks for watching. I'll see you then.